I mean, anytime you talk about Mississippi, I think what's positive is the people. I mean, Mississippi has and I'm from one who grew up in Louisiana, so, but there's just Mississippi or people from Mississippi are just great people, and you meet, we represent an individual who's been in, let's say, a car wreck. I enjoy, working with people like that. Same thing with businesses, local businesses. It's just, you have all across the spectrum in the state, you got good people here. And that's, I think, a lot of places you go across the country, you can't say that. And so I think that's something that's real positive about this state. I think the state's done pretty well. If you look at, looking at the Nissan plant, you look at what just recently going on in North Mississippi. And, being on the coast, you hear a lot about what goes on in Louisiana, and you're starting to hear a lot of complaints there about how much, they call it Hollywood South. And in the last legislature, there were some demands to cut some of these subsidies the film industry is getting in Louisiana because they're just too costly. So I think, we may not be spending as much, but I think some other states are looking that maybe they may not should be spending that much either. But I think it's good. I think to encourage whatever we can, tax cuts if they're reasonable or whatever for outside businesses to come in. I think people are realizing this is a good place to do business. The cost of living is not what it is in a lot of places, and I think you're seeing that even on the coast. I think you hear more and more people they're looking to retire on the coast because it's just a lot cheaper to live there than some areas of Florida and that type of thing. You mentioned housing. That's one of the on the Gulf Coast, Mississippi Gulf Coast. The insurance rates are an issue.
They're astronomical.
And people, if you still go down Highway 90 in Gulfport where I live, there are lots of vacant lots on the residential areas because between the insurance rates and the construction cost on elevating houses, it's really tough financially to build a house along there now. But you're gradually seeing the lots filled in, but there's still a lot of empty ones on Highway 90. Tough things about doing business in Mississippi. I never really thought about that. I always look at it kind of the opposite. You're not, there's not a lot of regulation that you have to deal with, especially from the state. It's just in our line of work, what we do is, we're really providing, a service to businesses and individuals through their insurance policy, and so we really, we don't really have problems, I guess with the state or any kind of regulations, doing our business. Our job is to go into a courtroom ultimately and have a fair trial, and that's all we can ask for is to have a fair trial. In most parts of the state, that happens, and I'd say pretty much all of them. And that's all you can ask for.
What's the bright opportunities that are looking at us? Is it in manufacturing? Is it in healthcare? What do you think it is?
I think in manufacturing because I think you can, I think companies look at somewhere like Mississippi where they can, build cheaper. They can probably pay lower wages than they do in other parts of the country because there's not a big union presence here, and so I think that area is going to grow. I think more and more people find out about Mississippi, what it has to offer. You're going to see that. I think I think healthcare is going to grow because I think we're getting older and as a society, and I don't think that's going to change. We're going to there are going to be more people in the healthcare industry, and as long as the insurance industry can cope with the rising cost, and I'm not sure what the solution is for that, the rising cost of healthcare. I don't think it seems like everything anybody tries doesn't really accomplish anything, but that is, to me, that's the big issue with healthcare. But as an industry, I think it's going to grow because we're just getting older, and that's statistically, there's nothing we can change about that.